In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the paste special features in Excel. Like many programs, there's an option to copy and then paste data. But there are a lot of different variations on how you can paste that data, and that's what we'll go through together now. We have quite a bit of data here on this sheet. To simplify it, I'm going to start here in row 10, Control-Shift right and Control-Shift down, and delete that extra data so that we can start with just this small table here. Let's say I want to add some summary statistics to it. We'll insert a row here at the top, and we'll call this summary. We'll change the row height here to just be 20. And I think for summary data, it's helpful to be able to highlight that row, just a light fill color so people can tell the difference. We'll take the average of the prices and we'll anchor so that the rows remain locked. And then we'll copy that formula over here. And this is our first opportunity to use paste special. If I press Control V or just paste regularly, it will paste the formula exactly as it's written along with all of the formatting. However, I can go to this paste menu here and choose paste special at the bottom. You'll notice the shortcut key for that is Control-Alt-V. So here I can choose what I would like to paste. The default is to paste everything. From there, we have various different options. In this case, I'd like to paste only the formulas. So I'll choose that option and I'll click OK. Now you'll see here the number formatting remained whatever it was in those cells prior to me copying that over. In this case, there were an unnumbered amount of decimal points, so we can reduce that using this decrease decimal button here. Similarly, we may want to increase this decimal place. Now here you can't take an average of letters, and so this formula returns an error. We will just remove it. Now that we have our initial table of data, let's copy it, and we're going to do this several times. So I will start by using the shortcut key Control-C to copy. You can also right-click, choose Copy here, or on the Home tab on the ribbon, you can click the Copy button here. Once I'm over here, I'm going to use the shortcut key Control-Alt-V to get the Paste Special menu. Again, you can get this menu also by clicking the drop-down under Paste here on the Home tab of the ribbon. The first thing that we want to do is choose Paste All. If we do that, you'll notice here it copies over all of my formulas, the data itself, and the number formatting, as well as the shading here that I've got on the Summary tab. But let's say I want to do some variations on that. If I select this new range and press Control-C, again I can press Control-Alt-V, and let's say I just want to paste the formulas. I can do that by pressing OK here, and you'll notice it copies the formulas, and these are just raw numbers, but they were raw numbers here, so it's technically copied the formula there. But it doesn't have any of my formatting. No bold, no fill colors, no number formats, just what was there originally. If we choose another option here, we can choose to just paste the values. In this case, it looks very similar to what we just saw, but you'll notice there are no formulas in this version, whereas there are formulas in this version here. Let's try another example. And you'll notice, by the way, as I'm pasting these things, the original data is still copied and it still has these little dashed borders moving around it, indicating that this data is still available to be pasted in additional places. Control-Alt-V. And this time, let's choose just the values and the number formats. In this case, I now no longer have formulas, but unlike our previous paste, it does include the number formatting, so it can maintain that same type of visual appearance. If we do again one more time here, you'll notice that I could also choose things like all using source theme, all except borders. I could paste the column widths. I could paste the formulas and number formats, values and number formats, just the formats themselves. So if we choose that, you'll see it's now got bold for these top cells, and it includes the shading here. There are all sorts of customizations that you can do when we use Paste Special. Now, sometimes when we're copying data, one of the columns might be a different width than the other columns. And that could create an issue when you're pasting into an area that is not the same. So I just copied my original data with a slightly wider column. And if I come over here and just press Control V, it pasted everything, but you'll notice the column width of that first column did not change. So if I press Control Alt V or go to that Paste Special menu, I can choose here to paste the column widths. And in that case, it will recognize what widths I had previously and move them over here. It didn't paste any of the data. With that Paste Special, it just pasted in the column widths. Now, some of these options come up automatically when you press the Control V shortcut or you right click and choose Paste. Down here, it has this little option box, and some of these exist automatically ready for you to go. Pasting only formulas, formulas and number formatting, keep the source formatting, no borders, keep the source column widths. I can transpose data, which to do that, by the way, I'll move down here, I'll press Control V, and I will choose Transpose. And that switches the rows and the columns. So now the part numbers are going across the top, and the columns that were going across the top are now going down the side. Some of the other options in this box include various versions of pasting values, pasting just the values, values and their formatting, or the values and their source formatting. We also can paste just the formats, a link, we can paste a picture or a linked picture. To give you an example here, if I paste this and then choose a picture, you'll notice it's now a picture of the data. I can't edit it, but it's a picture of the data that we were using previously. If I do that again and I choose to paste a linked picture, now if I make changes in that original data, this picture will update. So for example, if I go over to the left to my source data here and I choose summary statistics, now when I come over here to what I've pasted, you'll notice my original picture did not update, but my linked picture did update. Now, one last trick that I'd like to show you in the Paste Special data. If I copy just a subset of my data here and bring it over to a new cell over here, Control V to paste, one of the things that I can do is I could copy this number 2, Control C, and then I could select these cells here, choose Paste, Paste Special, and there's actually operations that I can perform. Let's choose Divide. What this will do is take all of these numbers and divide them by the number that I've copied. So if I press OK, you'll see all of those numbers have been split in half. Similarly, if I go to that same menu and choose Multiply, it brings them back to their original values by multiplying by 2. If I were to copy this 16, select these values here, and go to the Paste Special menu, I could also choose to add the number 16 to those values. And you'll see how that change works there. This can be a quick way to do simple operations with data that you already have. Keep in mind though, doing this is not a formula. And so if updates need to be made later on, it is a manual process to go and make those updates. As an example of how this might be useful, let's say that you are talking with one of the suppliers that supplies these parts, and they let you know that their lead time has increased by a week. I could take a number 1 here, I could copy that, and then select all of these values, choose Paste Special, and Add, and now those values are all updated. If I were to do that manually, I'd have to go through one cell at a time and make that change. Now, one final trick to share in this video, and that's about the F4 key on the keyboard. F4 has a special function in Excel in addition to being able to anchor formulas. It can actually repeat whatever you've done previously. So let's say I choose to fill this cell with orange, and then I come over to another cell. If I press F4, it will repeat that exact same thing that I just did. So let's say, for example, that I want to change all of these rows to show one more decimal point. But then I realized there was additional data that did not get that same treatment. Instead of selecting it, going back up and changing it, I could select it and just press F4 and it will perform that exact same operation. So the F4 key remembers what I've just done and allows you to repeat that action again. And it can be done again and again until you do a new action. And this works not just for number formatting or fill colors. Let's say I wanted to insert a new column here. I could click Insert, and then I could press F4 again and again and again to continue inserting additional columns. The same would be true here if I selected 3 and hit Insert. I could press F4 and it will insert 3 more. So it remembers what you've done and allows you to repeat it. This tip also applies to when we use the paste special function. So if I were to copy this parts data, and let's just say I wanted to paste special and paste just the values, I could click OK, and now instead of going back to that menu and selecting those features again, if I just press F4 in each area where I may need to paste it, I can do that with just the click of a single key. So the F4 command can save us a lot of time if we're repeating something that we don't have to do a lot of clicking with. The shortcuts that we use today: Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, Control-Alt-V to get to the paste special menu, and the F4 key to repeat the action that you've just done.